Hey, Julian Says here, and welcome to another great episode of Paddle Smash Academy. We're at RacquetX with an exceptional, inspirational president and leader of the USPA, United States Padel Association, Bill Ullman. Bill, welcome. Please tell us the state of paddle in the United States.
Thank you,
Hold it.
thank you, Julian. And so it's great to be here. I'm feeling a little underdressed next to you two gentlemen. The state of paddle is incredible right now, and I think the energy here this weekend at RacquetX proves that. There are 4 paddle courts in the back here. There is a first ever Premier Pro tournament that just finished with amazing paddle. We're seeing interest across the United States from club owners and entrepreneurs and developers building new facilities all over the country, from the South here in Florida to the Midwest to the Northwest US, California, Texas, everywhere. So I think the state of paddle is one of incredible growth right now.
Okay, talk to us about the USPA. Anything new? I know the leveling system with where paddle.
Yeah. There's so much going on at the USPA. First of all, I want to remind everybody it's an all volunteer organization. So everything we do and that gets done is done by people who are simply dedicated to the sport, love the sport, want to help see it grow and grow in a nice way.
Bill, quick question on that. Do you think that's the best route for the USPA?
Well, we don't really have a choice right now because it's not like we're loaded with cash and that someone's handing us money to do this. We earn money from a few sources. We have membership dues, we have select group of sponsors, and we have some tournament fees. And that's really, and donations. If people do want to donate, you're more than welcome to. And that's where we are right now with our sources of revenue. That covers what we do as an organization. We host tournaments around the country. We provide coaches and delegates for our national teams and get our national teams organized and sent to foreign countries to represent the U.S. And we're working to develop juniors all across the country as well through a grant program.
Do you think that has to change? I know you said nobody has a salary, but do you think that needs to change for USPA to grow?
It will
and
change.
How?
It will change. Give it time. As our membership grows, we're a little over 2,000 members today, up from less than 300 members 3 years ago.
Wow.
So we're talking about percentage-wise great growth. In terms of the United States and as sports go, that's tiny, right? I mean, nothing compared to the USTA or US Squash even, or USGA, Golf Association. So we need to continue to add more value for our members and provide them with opportunities to play and access the sport and get a lot out of the sport. And by growing our membership base from 2,000 to 5,000 to 10,000, which is going to happen over the next 5-10 years. It's just going to, I can almost guarantee it. We're going to see a lot more revenue come in, and then you're going to be able to continue to professionalize the USPA, hire a proper CEO, hire staff, bring in bigger sponsorships and more dollars there.
Right.
So I think you're going to see it all in the next decade ramp up substantially. But we're small and trying. I think we're punching above our weight right now, but there's a lot to do.
Yeah, I love the USPA. I love the events. Every time it's at a club, it's really great. The competition is great. More and more people are showing up.
Yeah.
Me and Julian support the USPA, especially.
We know. We love it. And for one example, last year, the USPA hosted the first U.S. Open ever. There's never been a U.S. Open in paddle before.
Right.
We got that done last year. I can tell you this year, because I know we're in negotiations with the host for this year, it's going to be bigger and better this year, and then every year after that, you're going to see it grow and grow and grow. And we know what's possible by looking at what happens with Premier, and we have the best players coming now. Can we offer that kind of prize money? No, not right now. But 5 years from now, look out. I mean, I think it's going to be really exciting. So we look at, I mean, I've been a student of racket sports for my whole life now, and I look at what US squash has been able to build, and now in the Olympics, I look at what tennis has done with the US Open, and we have some great models out there to replicate and improve upon, frankly.
So let's talk about the new rating system, which is a little bit confusing, and I know you
don't
guys
like having an 11.25.
yes.
How
So
is the USPA involved in that?
yeah, let us that transition. I think it's 100 times better than before.
Yep.
But let us know all the details.
I will try to let you know all the details as I have them. So we had a contract. Prior board had engaged in a contract with what was then Red Paddle, which is now called World Paddle Rating, WPR. Okay. So those two things are really the same. And we organized this year. We kind of finalized and renegotiated that contract with them to really be the tournament management system for the USPA. We can't, as I said, we're a volunteer organization. We don't have software developers and people to build apps and things like that. And this is what WPR does. They do have a rating system. It's a little different than I think what many are used to, because a lot of us are on the kind of 0 to 6 or 0 to 7 scale,
Exactly.
And like the US Tennis Association is.
Do you have any other options, or what was, why did you?
No, we did not have any other options. This was who we were going to work with, and we think a great deal for the USPA, and a great deal. They got a great deal as well to be able to work with the USPA, because we're a growing organization and we run a lot of tournaments. That number is only going to go up. And I think financially, it has the potential to have a major impact on the USPA and our balance sheet. And
can you talk a little bit in details about that?
I really can't, because there's things that we're not supposed to disclose. But I think if everything works as it should and the software works, and it is working, and I think you're going to see better integration over the next 6 months. And I think in a year from now, no one's going to be talking about the integration or the change. It's just going to be accepted, and everybody's it'll be the standard. Exactly. And then I think there's potential help with sponsorships, event management, things that WPR can bring to the USPA that are going to be great. And I know Charles and his partners are excited to work with the USPA. We're excited to work with them, and we have very high hopes.
So you guys also came out with, I think, was a brilliant idea about the club membership. So for each club. So how's that coming along? Or explain a little bit to the viewers.
So in addition to individual members, we have, for the first time last year, we put in place what we call a club membership program. Same thing that happens in golf, right? There are clubs that are members of the USGA, and we want to be a resource for clubs in terms of court manufacturing, construction. So when they have to go out and buy courts, how can the USPA help them? Well, we have a program of endorsed court manufacturers and builders now on our website, and we can now recommend those companies to all the entrepreneurs and people out there. And those organizations have gone through a little bit of standards test from us. They have to meet certain qualifications to be able to be endorsed, and then they achieve that, and they're on our website. But what's great about the club membership program is it also allows clubs to host tournaments, and it allows clubs also to apply for and get grants for working with juniors. So if a club demonstrates to the USPA that they have worked, they have to meet the minimum criteria that we've set up. Again, it's all on our website. Let's call it 25 hours with 30 kids, something like that. If you meet the standards, we will send you a check for a grant for $1,000. So that puts money back in the club's pocket. It actually pays for the club member. It's more than the club membership itself.
So is that a grant from USPA?
It's a grant from USPA. It's part of our capital. Okay. It's our members investing in the future of the sport, is the way I look at it. It's our members saying, juniors are really important, and we've got to keep growing this great game. And the game isn't only for adults; it's for juniors too. And again, the only way the U.S. ultimately is going to be competitive on the world scene is if we start harnessing our junior talent now, because it takes decades. You guys know this. You look at this sport is in the DNA of Spaniards and Argentines, right? It's not in our DNA yet. We need people to grow up with this and live it and love it and play tournaments and be competitive. And I think that has to start at the junior level. So we're investing in that.
So, and I know you have different tiers of the clubs.
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about that.
It basically enables you to, the different tiers cost different levels of money, but the highest tier enables you to host the highest level tournaments with the most prize money potentially and the most prestige and the most ratings and rankings points available. So if you're a premier club, you get to host the best stuff.
Okay, so let's talk about the different levels. I know you guys have the 1000s and so let's talk about the different levels.
So the different levels, it's think of like a 250 level or 100. I think we have 100, 250, 500, 1000, and then national championship, which would be 1500 in a way. And it really relates to the ranking points available for winning a tournament. So if you win a national title, you get 1,500 points. If you win a 1,000 tournament, you get 1,000 points. If you win a 500, you get 500 points, 250, so and so and so and so. So at the end of the year, what does that matter? Number one, for people who are competitive, it matters in terms of your overall ranking to qualify for national teams. It also matters in terms of your seeding in tournaments, right? The more points you have, the higher your seeding is going to be. You're going to end up in a favorable position in the draw. So, and the higher level of tournaments, should attract the best players. But we're also trying to create opportunities for kind of local tournaments to take place for people to just get used to competing for the first time. A lot of people, I bet most paddle players have never played in a tournament. Most paddle players just go out and have fun with their friends.
Right.
And they play on the weekends and by the way, it's fantastic, and that should not stop. But what people who compete know and have learned is it makes you a way better player to learn how to compete. You learn the game, you learn about making errors, you learn about how to control your emotions, you learn about what shots to hit when to be aggressive, when not to be. Competition really brings out the best, I think, in people in general, and paddle's no different in that regard. And so I would encourage everybody, even if it's a low-level tournament, try it out. What's the if you don't like it, go back to playing on the weekend. That's fine. But
so you talked about exposure and educating people and getting paddle out there. What's your strategy on doing that?
Wow, we're trying to be as aggressive as we can be with our social media and Instagram, and me coming on a podcast like this. All of our board members are, I would say, out there talking to people. They're highly participatory in the sport and have given a lot of their time and energy back to the sport. And we're trying to tell, through Instagram and through these podcasts, as many of the stories as we can about, what the USPA does, what is paddle about, what's great about it. We want to make, we use our website a lot. We want that to be a hub for the sport. We are constantly putting news articles on there. I think almost every 2 or 3 days there's a new news story about the sport or a tournament or someone who did something. So I encourage everyone to go to that website too. We want to have links to your podcast. We want to have links to other people's podcasts in the game.
Do you think you'll ever have the games, or at least the finals, broadcasts on YouTube or something, or just
so streaming's a big issue. Again, there are companies that specialize in streaming, right? So they're going to be most concerned with the size of the audience. Paddle in the United States right now is not. We probably have, let's say we have 90 to 100,000 players in America. We don't have a lot of people who want to tune in and watch it. be played.
Maybe not the whole
But-
thing, but maybe some highlights.
Absolutely.
I
Look,
think
I have
people would
nothing.
love
I
to
got
see that.
nothing wrong with that, and I think the sport is so fun to watch,
Yes.
especially at the high levels, that it sort of sells itself as in a visual medium. So I think it's perfect for YouTube. It's perfect for
Right.
streaming. We don't. I think that'll come. I think that's like
Right.
in the next 5 years. We'll have a relationship with a streaming company.
I think people get motivated to watch themselves. It's like, I
Oh
wanna be on
yeah,
there,
absolutely.
And
But you're seeing a lot of clubs wire their courts up, right? So we've seen that in the squash world where clubs have put
yeah.
cameras in behind the courts so that everyone can watch, and they stream all the tournaments now.
But that's
we
usually
need
it's usually only a 320 or 720, and it's very wide, it's very awkward looking.
we need
everything.
but right, and it's an investment, right?
Yeah.
Because you've got to put cameras in different places. You need to make it really good. You have to have sound. You have to link the scoring in to it. There's a lot more. It's easy to say, oh, let's stream something, but to do it right, I think takes a real effort and some investment. But I think we're going to see all this.
Right.
We're going to see it. It's just time.
Right.
Bill, I mean, now we talk to a lot of people in the industry, and we've been talking to paddle courts manufacturers, and we have about maybe 1,500 new courts coming into the market in this year only. For those 15 paddle courts, let's say a club has let's say 10, 15, 30, 40 new clubs around the
Right.
country. One of the major issues that we're going to have are coaches.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
How's the USPA helping on that, or are you guys doing anything with it?
So coaching certification is a really critical thing because we don't want people who just walk off a tennis court or a squash court who are pro there and their club decided to open up paddle, that they just go out and teach people, because they're not going to teach it properly. No offense
Right.
to all these great tennis and squash coaches, but they're just not going to be able to do it.
No,
right.
and not only that. I mean, it's you need the chicken and the egg. You
Yeah.
need the paddle court and the coach, because if
Yeah.
not, you cannot create new players.
Correct. And certainly not new competitive players if they're not coached properly. So right now, there are two really good coaching certification organizations in the United States that I'm aware of. One is Padel MBA, and the other is the RSPA, which was formerly the USPTA. We want to make sure and work with them in any way we can to bring in whether it's FIP standards or international standards, to make sure they're adhering to that, make sure they're adhering to things like safe sport, and especially if you're working with youngsters, they have to do things right in a lot of ways. So we want to give guidance, but we don't want to own it. I don't think that's in our mission right now. But we want them to flourish, and we want them to attract lots of people and do a great job. And I went through Padel MBA myself. I loved it. I learned so much. I came at this sport from a squash and tennis background, and I still have a lot to learn. But just going through the coaching training helped me a lot. And so I'm a big fan of that. I think the other thing we need certification in is referees. Again, over time, we're going to have bigger and bigger tournaments. Who's going to sit in that chair?
Right.
Who do you want in that chair to call a match?
Right.
So FIP, Premier Padel has a whole bunch of people at different levels of certification. They can do different levels of tournaments. We need to do the same thing. They do that in the squash world, the tennis world. Again, the good thing is there's models out there for us to follow. And we just have to follow them and do a good job following them and improve where we can and make it right for paddle. But I want to see. We're going to need more coaches. We're going to need more tournament referees and people who know the rules really well and know how to run a tournament and enforce the rules, and all of that. We need more of all of that. And by the way, club ownership too. Like, that's not so easy. How do you be a good club owner?
Club management.
Club management. You guys know that. I mean, it's
Right.
hard.
Yeah, it is.
It's really hard, and they're hopefully people are learning how to do that well. And I think there's a panel today or tomorrow on like why clubs fail or something like that.
Yeah.
But
We talk
there's
about
lots
that
of
all the
reasons.
time.
Yeah.
There's lots of reasons, and it's business. It's tough. It's competitive, even in a growing sport like paddle. A lot of capital investment.
Yeah.
So
Best way for new paddle players and new members to reach the USPA.
info at paddleusa.org. You can email us. We're
PaddleUSA.org.
we are really
I'm sorry. Say it again.
paddleusa.org.
Okay.
Info at paddleusa, or come to our website. Either way, you can contact us. We have
The website. What's the name of the website? What's the website?
www.paddleusa.org.
Okay.
It comes up as USPA, but it's paddle.
Why no USPA?
I don't know. Someone may have grabbed it for the polo. I think it's the US Polo Association or something like that.
You might have to tell him one more time because he's
paddleusa.org.
Well,
So yeah, we're feel free to ping us there. We will answer your questions or send you to where you need to go, and we want to be helpful to all of our members and all of our would-be members.
So for all you got paddle players, start playing those USPA tournaments. I think it's a great way to get the sport moving forward. They're doing it all for the love of the sport, and we need the support for everyone out there. Thank you very much.
You're so welcome. The last point, I would just say, participating in those tournaments, it's an amazing way to build your network in the sport too. Like you and I met, I believe, in Raleigh, North Carolina, at a tournament. We may met on the team first, but
No.
then we were in Raleigh together.
I mean, it was paddle love at first sight when I saw you for the first time. But
That's why we have matching glasses.
there you go, man.
You told me
Yes,
that
yeah.
when I met you. What's going on here?
Bill,
All right,
thank you so
thanks.
much for
My
coming, man.
pleasure. Great to see you
Congratulations.
guys.